The first thing I noticed was the smell. Sharp and metallic, like wet ink drying. It clung to the guest room where my brother had been sleeping. Papers littered the carpet. I bent to pick one up. A withdrawal slip. My signature, only it wasn't. Mine. The numbers swam for a second until they snapped into place. $20,000. Another slip lay beneath it. $35,000. My throat went tight as I gathered them in shaking hands. The room was picked clean. His suitcase was gone, drawers hung open, empty. Even the picture frames I'd left on the dresser, photos of us at Cannon Beach with our parents smiling behind us, were bare, the glass catching the morning light over nothing. On the pillow sat a note in Dorian's quick, messy handwriting. Sorry, Selena. Cassandra says we need a fresh start. Don't look for us. I sank onto the edge of the bed, the mattress still dented where his head had been. He was 41, but he'd vanished like a teenager sneaking out after curfew. Only he took more than a few hours. He took almost everything. I pressed the forged slips to my chest and tried to breathe. This wasn't a petty theft. It was a cut made with my own name. Footsteps sounded in the hall, light, quick. Rowan stood in the doorway in a rumpled t-shirt, hair messy from sleep, voice steady. Mom? His eyes took in the scattered papers, the empty drawers, my face. What happened? The words wouldn't come. How do you tell your 12-year-old his uncle stole from you? Rowan moved closer and crouched beside me, scanning the slips without flinching. I braced for tears or panic. Instead, his expression eased into something calm. He smiled a little. Mom, don't worry. I handled it. I stared. What do you mean, handled? It? He pulled out a phone, not his scratched old one, but a sleek black device I didn't recognize. A few swipes and a profile photo appeared from a database I'd never seen. The name read, Catherine Voss. Warrants in 3 states. Fraud, assault. That's Cassandra, he said, matter of fact. Your brother's girlfriend, not who she says she is. My mouth went dry. How could you? I've been watching him, Rowan cut in, voice too even for his age. He thought those late-night calls were secret. I tracked his phone. I copied his texts. When her name didn't check out, I dug deeper. Public records are public if you know where to look. His small fingers scrolled through arrest logs and addresses. He met my eyes with certainty. It's under control. Uncle Dorian isn't as smart as he thinks. Relief flickered and tangled with unease. A heavy knock rattled the front door. Then again, harder. I forced myself downstairs, Rowan close at my shoulder. Through the glass, 2 officers stood on the porch, uniforms crisp against the gray Portland morning. Mrs. Marlowe? The taller one asked. I'm Detective Halverson. This is Officer Diaz. May we come in? My stomach twisted. I led them to the living room. Rowan sat in the armchair, hands folded neatly in his lap. Halverson opened a folder on the coffee table. We received a tip early this morning. Your brother, Dorian Marlowe, was taken into custody at a gas station off I-5, about 40 miles south. He was with a woman identified as Catherine Voss. The name hit like a stone. Diaz slid photos across to me. Grainy images of Dorian at ATMs, Catherine at his side, bank records stamped with my forged signature, text transcripts planning their run. The evidence swallowed the room. My hand covered my mouth. Oh, God, I whispered. Halverson's voice softened. The funds have been recovered. We'll need your statement on the unauthorized withdrawals, but it looks like you'll get most of it back. I nodded, eyes on the papers, mind spinning. The tip hadn't been random. It was my son. My 12-year-old had handed them everything they needed. Halverson closed the folder. Someone was looking out for you. Rowan shifted in the chair, a faint smile tugging his mouth. The phone on the side table rang, slicing the quiet. I answered on shaky fingers. Static. Then Dorian's voice, raw and desperate. Selena, it's me. Don't hang up. Where are you? County jail. They got us. But listen, this wasn't random. Someone set me up. Someone close. They knew everything. The route, the withdrawals, even the burner. Who else could know that? I stared at the folder on the table. Rowan sat a few feet away, quiet as a shadow. Dorian, I managed. You made those choices. You signed my name. You stole from me. I was going. To pay it back, he rushed. She said it was an investment, a way to fix things. But someone wanted me to fall. Cassandra's dangerous, and this is bigger than her. Every part of me wanted details. But Rowan tilted his head, watching. I don't know anything, I said. You'll have to deal with the consequences. A long exhale. You don't get it. They're playing a game. With me, with us. Be careful. The line went dead. The house ticked in the silence. Rowan leaned back, crossing one leg over the other, a little too grown. Maybe she turned on him, he said lightly. Criminals eat their own. The simple answer should have comforted me, but it settled heavy and cold. That evening, after the police left and the quiet felt too loud, I found Rowan at the kitchen table with a notebook. His pen moved steadily, brow creased. He didn't see me in the doorway. Homework? I asked. He shook his head without looking up. A letter for Uncle Dorian. It might help. I wanted to tell him not to waste the ink, that Dorian didn't deserve a syllable. But Rowan's tone was calm and sure. I left him to it, though a prickle ran under my skin. Later, when he went upstairs, I found the letter on the counter, folded neat, Uncle written across the front. I knew better than to read it. My hands opened it anyway. Dear Uncle Dorian, it began in careful, almost adult handwriting. I forgive you for stealing from us. I forgive you for picking a criminal over family. But forgiveness isn't forgetting. Prison has rules. You never liked rules. Maybe they'll finally teach you. You belong there. Out here, you hurt the people who love you. My chest tightened. Then the lines that froze me. If you ever come back to hurt Mom or Grandma again, if you even think about taking from us, I'll finish what you started. You tied your own noose when you forged her name. I'll make sure it holds. I lowered the page on trembling fingers. Those weren't the words of a child. They were clean, deliberate cuts. Mercy sharpened into warning. Awe and fear tugged at me at the same time. This was my son, the same boy who still asked for an extra blanket at night, writing like someone who understood how to dominate a room with sentences. I refolded the letter, set it where I found it, and braced myself against the counter. Upstairs, his door clicked shut. The knock on the front door returned, heavier now. When I opened it, a woman in a navy blazer held up a badge. Jennifer Walsh, Child Protective Services. May I come in? My mouth went dry. Of course. She carried a clipboard and a professional smile. That didn't miss much. We received a report about your son's well-being. With your brother's arrest, this is standard. Rowan appeared at the stairs, calm and polite. He shook her hand like a small diplomat. Good afternoon, ma'am. Jennifer's eyebrows lifted, impressed. She asked to see his room. Rowan opened the door with a small flourish. Everything was perfect. Bed made tight. Books stacked by subject. Clothes folded. Laptop closed on the desk beside a row of sharpened pencils. Jennifer took notes, nodding. Spotless. You should be proud, Mrs. Marlowe. Rowan answered her questions with practiced ease, about school, friends, how he was coping. He was balanced, never defensive, just detailed enough. Sometimes I feel sad, he said softly, but Mom always makes sure I'm okay. Jennifer's face warmed. That's a healthy way to put it. When she finished, she was almost glowing. Your son is one of the most well-adjusted kids I've met in a case like this. I'll file a positive report. Likely no further follow-up. I thanked her and walked her out. The door shut. Rowan turned to me with a small, satisfied grin. Easy, he said, heading for the kitchen like nothing had happened. I stood in the hall, heart thudding, her praise still echoing. Outside, we looked perfect. Inside, a seed of doubt pushed deeper roots. The phone rang again, flashing county jail across the screen. Just after midnight, the shrill ring pulled me from sleep. A clipped voice said my brother had been rushed from the jail to the hospital. The fluorescent lights were too bright over the sterile hallway. A nurse led me in. Dorian lay pale on the bed, bruises dark across his neck. For a moment, I saw the boy he had been, reckless and laughing. Then the man who emptied my account snapped back into focus. His eyelids flickered. "Selena," he rasped. "Listen to me. Watch your boy." "You need to rest," I said, gripping the rail. "No," he whispered, fierce as he could be. Rowan knew everything before I acted. Cassandra said he gave her chills, like he could see through her. The door creaked and our mother hurried in, clutching her handbag like a shield, eyes wet. She went straight to him and smoothed his hair with shaking hands. "Don't start that," she scolded. "You betrayed us. Don't drag Rowan into it. He's a good boy, the only good thing left." Dorian's gaze locked onto mine, pleading, "Please, just watch him." I gave the smallest nod, words stuck in my throat. Mom tugged at my arm. "Let's go. He needs sleep, not stories." We stepped into the cold night, but his warning trailed us home. By the time we walked in the door, my nerves were frayed. I hadn't taken off my coat when the phone rang again. An unfamiliar number. I knew who it would be. "Selena," a woman hissed. "It's Catherine. Or should I say Catherine Voss. Think you're clever?" I know who tipped them. That wasn't luck. If you don't want Dorian knowing the truth, you'd better... The phone slipped from my fingers and into Rowan's hand. He pressed it to his ear, voice steady, almost amused. "If you knew anything, you wouldn't be calling from a burner after midnight. You'd be running. Which you should be." A pause. A muffled curse. The line went dead. Rowan handed the phone back, expression smooth. "She's bluffing, Mom. Scammers try to scare you. It's what they do best." "How did you know it was her?" I asked. He shrugged too lightly. "Who else would call? Don't worry, she's got nothing." But just for a heartbeat, before the mask returned, I saw it, a flicker in his eyes. Panic. Lightning behind a storm. Then it was gone, replaced by that calm confidence. "See?" he said with a neat smile, already moving toward the kitchen. Handled, the house hummed with the refrigerator's low buzz. I drifted into the kitchen, restless. On the counter sat Rowan's notebook, half tucked under mail. I pulled it free to tidy, and a page fell open. Not math, not vocabulary. A chessboard drawn in perfect squares. Each pawn had crossed the board. Every pawn had become a queen. The king in the corner had no escape. A chill threaded my spine. "Find something interesting?" Rowan's voice came from the doorway. He padded in, bare feet silent, expression unreadable. I held up the notebook. "What is this?" He tilted his head, studying me with that same curious patience. "Strategy, Mom. Endgame positions. Pawns aren't weak if they keep moving." His eyes caught the light. "Family is what you protect, not what you forgive." "You're 12, I said, forcing my voice to stay even. "You're not supposed to carry everyone's sins. You need to talk to someone, a counselor. There have to be limits." For the first time, his mask thinned. He looked at me, something hard glinting underneath, and then the easy smile slid back into place. "If that's what you want, I'll go. I'll say all the right things." "That's not what I mean," I said quickly. "I want you to be honest, to feel like a kid again." His smile lingered, but his words cut like glass. "I can do that, Mom, as long as no one threatens us again." It wasn't a promise. It was a condition. I slid the notebook into a drawer with trembling hands. Rowan poured a glass of milk as if we'd been talking about homework. The front door opened and my mother's tired voice drifted in. The house looked normal. It didn't feel that way. At dawn, the hospital called again. Dorian wanted to see me. His voice was thin, begging, "Tell the truth about Rowan. Please, Selena, before it's too late." I sat by his bed. He repeated the same warning. He looked defeated, caught by his own choices. And I realized that naming Rowan wouldn't rescue Dorian. It would only rip open what little was left of our family. I left without giving him what he wanted. The next morning, the smell of pancakes warmed the kitchen. Rowan stood at the stove flipping golden rounds onto a plate while my mother sat beaming, as if nothing had cracked the night before. He looked exactly like the boy he was supposed to be. Bare feet, messy hair, humming off-key. "Morning, Mom," he said, sliding a plate toward me. "Coffee's ready too." I smiled because my face knew how. But my chest still held the weight of last night. I carried Rowan's letter upstairs and unlocked the fireproof safe where we kept birth certificates and insurance papers. I laid the folded page inside and turned the key until it clicked. The sound felt final. The letter would stay hidden. The truth would too. When I returned, Rowan passed syrup to Grandma with a polite grin. His eyes met mine, steady and unreadable. Then he smiled wider, innocent, bright, any 12-year-old in any kitchen. I sat down, tasted the pancakes, and felt them go ash in my mouth. I told myself silence was protection. I told myself I was doing what mothers do: shield, soften, hold. Together. But the question wouldn't leave. If my son can outthink the people who hurt us, what game is he willing to play next? And what will it cost to win?